Have you ever imagined waking up tomorrow with $650 million? Not 650,000. Not 6.5 million. $650 million. Now here's the twist. Nobody knows. Not your friends. Not your neighbors. Not your relatives who suddenly remember your birthday when they need money. Nobody. Would your life become amazing or surprisingly complicated? Let's find out. Imagine it's Monday morning. Your alarm goes off. You open your eyes, and sitting quietly in your bank account is $650 million. The funny thing is, your room looks exactly the same. Your coffee tastes exactly the same. And your dog still ignores you when you call his name. Because money changes many things. But apparently, it doesn't change dogs. Now most people think becoming rich means buying 10 sports cars, a giant mansion, and a gold-plated toothbrush for absolutely no reason. But if nobody knows you're rich, your life becomes a very different game. Let's start with the first challenge, going to work. Imagine sitting in a boring meeting while secretly knowing you could buy the entire building. Your boss is explaining why everyone needs to work harder this quarter, and you're sitting there thinking, interesting speech. I could technically purchase this company before lunch. But you stay quiet, because nobody knows. You still smile. You still nod. You still pretend to care about the office printer issue. Meanwhile, your bank account is large enough to make several small countries nervous. That would be a strange feeling. At first, having a secret fortune sounds fun, like being a superhero. Except instead of superpowers, you have money. Lots of it. You could fly first class anywhere, stay in luxury hotels, eat at the world's best restaurants, yet somehow still spend 10 minutes deciding whether to buy something online, because old habits never die. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Some people become millionaires and still search for discount codes. Now let's talk about friends, because this is where things get interesting. Your friends still treat you the same. They complain about gas prices. They complain about rent. They complain about their boss. And you listen. Meanwhile, you secretly have enough money to solve all of those problems instantly. But here's the problem. The moment people know you're rich, their behavior can change. Not everyone, but some. Suddenly, every business idea becomes the opportunity of a lifetime. Every cousin becomes an entrepreneur. Every old classmate remembers how close you used to be. You might receive messages like, "Hey buddy, long time no see. Remember me from 4th grade?" No. No, you do not. That's why staying silent can actually protect your relationships. People continue liking you for who you are, not for what's sitting in your bank account. And honestly, that's worth a lot. Now let's talk about spending. You have $650 million. Can you buy a mansion? Absolutely. Can you buy a private jet? Sure. Can you buy a small island? Probably. Can you buy happiness? That's where things get complicated, because happiness is weird. Think about it. Remember something that made you happy recently. Maybe it was a funny joke. Maybe it was eating your favorite food. Maybe it was finally finding where you left your phone. None of those required hundreds of millions of dollars. Money makes life easier. Much easier. But happiness still comes from ordinary moments. The difference is that money removes many problems. You don't worry about bills. You don't worry about emergencies. You don't worry about unexpected expenses. If your refrigerator breaks, you replace it. If your car breaks, you replace it. If your house breaks, well, you probably have enough money to replace the house too. Now imagine traveling. You can wake up in New York, have lunch in Paris, watch the sunset in Tokyo, all without checking your bank balance. Sounds incredible, right? But after a while, even luxury becomes normal. The first time flying private feels magical. The 50th time? It's basically an expensive bus in the sky. Humans adapt to everything. That's one of our superpowers, and also one of our biggest problems. Because the things that once felt extraordinary eventually become ordinary. That's why many wealthy people continue searching for purpose. Because once money solves financial problems, other questions appear. What do you want to achieve? What impact do you want to make? What kind of life do you actually want? Those questions can't be answered with a credit card. Now imagine another interesting situation. Dating. Nobody knows you're rich, which means people like you for you, not for your money. That's actually a huge advantage, because you never have to wonder, do they like me? Or, do they like my bank account? Trust becomes much easier when money isn't part of the conversation. Of course, keeping such a massive secret wouldn't always be easy. Imagine accidentally opening your banking app in public. Someone glances at your screen. Suddenly they need water, a chair, and possibly a doctor. You'd become extremely careful. You'd learn that privacy is valuable, very valuable. In fact, many wealthy people spend enormous amounts of money protecting their privacy, because attention can be exhausting. Imagine everyone knowing exactly how much money you have. Every purchase becomes news. Every decision gets judged. Every mistake becomes public. That sounds stressful. Being a silent millionaire allows you to enjoy freedom without becoming a walking headline. And freedom is one of the greatest luxuries money can buy. Not yachts, not mansions. Freedom. The freedom to spend your time however you choose. The freedom to say no. The freedom to help others quietly. Speaking of helping others, this is where things get really powerful. Imagine donating millions to hospitals, funding scholarships, helping families, supporting causes you care about. And nobody knows it was you. No cameras, no headlines, no social media posts. Just genuine impact. There's something beautiful about that. Helping because you want to help, not because you want applause. Now here's something most people don't realize. With $650 million, your biggest challenge might not be making money. It might be finding meaning. Because the struggle that drives many people disappears. The urgency changes. The pressure changes. The game changes. When survival is no longer a concern, purpose becomes the new goal. And purpose is something every person must discover for themselves, rich or poor. Now imagine you're sitting on your porch one evening. The sun is setting. Nobody around you knows the secret. To them, you're just another ordinary person. But inside, you know the truth. You have enough money to live 10 lifetimes comfortably. Yet the things that matter most remain surprisingly simple. Family, friendship, health, laughter, memories, a peaceful mind. Those things don't become less important when you're rich. They become even more important, because eventually you realize something. Money is an incredible tool, but it's still just a tool. A hammer can build a house, but it can't create a home. Money can buy comfort, but it can't buy genuine love. It can buy luxury, but it can't buy meaningful memories. Those are things you must create yourself. And that's the biggest lesson of being a silent millionaire. The real power isn't having $650 million. The real power is having the freedom to choose how you live, without needing approval, without needing attention, without needing everyone to know, because sometimes the richest person in the room is the person nobody suspects, and maybe that's exactly how they want it. So here's a question for you. If you suddenly had $650 million tomorrow, would you tell everyone, or would you keep the secret? Let me know in the comments. And remember, the loudest wealth is often not the greatest wealth. Sometimes true wealth is being able to live exactly the life you want, while the world has absolutely no idea.